We've been looking for 30 straight minutes for her, and I was starting to get worried, and I was like, okay, we're gonna start calling around the neighborhood, and if I can't find Eve in the next 20 minutes, I'm calling the police. And then I found this. You only got a little gist of it on camera. All the discipline takes place off camera.
Momfluencer Ruby Franke collected over 2 million followers on her social media before she was convicted of felony child abuse. Her fall from grace is now leading to a change in Utah law. On Tuesday, Utah added some new protections for the children of online creators like Ruby Franke. So under the encouragement of Franke's now ex-husband, Kevin, that law is going to allow the scrubbing of digital content featuring minors on all platforms. Under the new law, online creators featuring children will be required to also set aside 15% of their earnings into a trust fund for the kids. And the parents of child actors will also be required to place a portion of their earnings in a trust for them. Now, Franke and her good buddy therapist Jody Hildebrandt were both sentenced to spend 30 years behind bars. And so this morning we're asking, will this new law be effective? Let's bring in our power panel. So happy to have with me this morning entertainment commentator and actress and photographer Holland Reed. Still with us also FBI retired special agent Jennifer Coffindaffer and attorney Michael J. Brown. Okay, Holland, let me go to you on this one. You've followed Ruby Franke all through, the height of fame to her demise. And now here we go, the law inspired by her bad acts. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be a good thing?
I think it's a great thing. I think we dealt with this. Think back to Britney Spears. Think back to all these conservatorships. There's one thing to be shock value entertainment. There's another thing to abuse, exploit, and then call it parenting and use it for profit. I think we know she's going to jail for a while, but in order for this to continue, we have to have cases like this in place so that children are protected when they're not being abused and exploited. These kids did not have a choice. They were in her care and they were used for her profit and gain. And I think this is a really good eye-opening experience for people that do put their kids out there on social media and then profit from it.
Right, Holland. I couldn't agree more. Let's go back to when she was sentenced and what she said to her babies.
To my babies. My 6 little chicks. You were a part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently leading you to safety. I can see now, over the past 4 years, I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger.
Oh, she was a mama duck that made a lot of money, too, as we know. Jen Coffindaffer, let me go to you next, please. Your thoughts on the new law.
Well, I'm thrilled for the new law, but the biggest part of the law that I like is this part that can scrub that social media from these embarrassing and humiliating and degrading moments. That's the piece that I like the most. Yes, it's fine to set some money aside for the kids. They certainly deserve it. But that's the piece that these kids have to live with for life. And by the way, Ruby Franke deserved an Oscar for that. She bound her kids. She put duct tape around them. She made them stand in the sun. And I didn't buy one word of that on a side note.
Jen, I love the point you made. Thank you for that. Michael J. Brown, boy, oh boy, it's a tricky world out there, isn't it? Where, a parent can share things like she was an oversharer, right? Not illegal. But just what a bad world it can be and the exposure that can be done to kids, the risks associated with that, people who may want to do them harm. Love your thoughts on this issue, please.
Julie, great law. It really protects these kids who have no option in the decision-making process. They're children. They're being, I want to say, exploited in some cases. In other cases, they're not. But at the end of the day, when they mature, they can make that decision if they want to remove this from the social media platform. And the other part of this is, hey, mom or dad are making all this money off of them. Wouldn't it be nice if they profit to some extent? So the fact that they're guaranteed a percentage also is somewhat refreshing. So I think it's a great law. There's no downside, all upside for these young children who have really no choice in this process.
Yeah, well said. They didn't have a choice, and now this poor kids, we just hope they're getting the help they need, therapy, healing, all of that. On behalf of all of us here, we send them our good wishes.